Topiks, Bankie Yahsonn. Real conversation. Lately we be having conversations with the people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. We be having conversations with the people, cause too many media houses changing up the news. Everything was green light, now we seeing red. Everybody got opinions, few got facts instead. We be having conversations with the people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. Tuesday night and everybody tuned in live. Bankie Yahsonn bringing reason in every time. Talking politics and the things affecting lives. Breaking down the stories they be trying to hide. Used to trust the system, now the trust gone. Everybody talking loud, but the facts wrong. People tired of the fake and the gimmicks too, so they coming to these topics for a clear review. Got the whole Caribbean locked on the station. Real entertainment network building conversation. No script vibes, not stage for the camera. Just real people talking straight with stamina. And we be having conversations with the people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. We be having conversations with the people, cause too many media houses changing up the news. Everything was green light, now we seeing red. Everybody got opinions, you got facts instead. We be having conversations with the people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. Sometimes Fridays got a special live session. Big topics got the whole place stressing. Agriculture, crime, economy discussion. Every episode spark another conversation, and the comments start flying when the lights start. Everybody got a view from the heart. Some agree and some disagree too, but at least these topics bringing real views. No pretending when the mic turn on. Yahsonn reasoning while Bankie stay strong. People checking in from overseas too, cause I finished conversation hard to come through. Everything was green light, now we seeing red. Everybody got opinions, few got facts instead. We be having conversations with the people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth.
And global greetings. Welcome to another edition of the Topics here on Real Entertainment Network. It's another beautiful Friday evening here in the Federation of Oli and Layamiga. Yes, Oli and Layamiga, as we seek to maintain the indigenous names of the islands and not necessarily the names given to us by those colonizers. And speaking of colonizers, I'm telling you, based on some of the things that's happening here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, that's going to be popping up in part of the discussions later on this evening. And we're looking forward to a very interesting discussion this evening, as we're about to get into an exclusive edition of the Topics with members of OFA. We've got our special guests for this evening, Sandra Queeley Arthurton and Hance Richards, and we're looking forward to an engaging discussion. So first, we're going to say good evening also to our brothers and sisters throughout the entire Eastern Caribbean. We would have had our recent heads of government CARICOM meeting, and, you know, lots of things would have been discussed and talked about at that event. It's the Topics, so we're going to have, you know, bits and, you know, all of that in the Topics. We also want to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you may be geographically. Some of those greetings may be applicable to you. This evening I have my usual co-host Shabazz Bankie King, and we are going to be getting into a very interesting, some scrumptious meals and some of the delicious beverages that they have available for you. Also Shabazz Organics and Mansa's Last Stop, and Imperial Rights Taxi and Tours, and the Heritage Cafe. So we are going to introduce our co-host, and then we're going to come back and introduce our special guest for this evening, and then we're going to be engaging in our discussion. So Bankie, greetings, welcome to this edition of the Topics.
Yes, and greetings to our guests, Miss Queeley and Mr. Richard, greatly appreciate you guys joining us this evening. Let me say good evening to the folks who are tuning to us, especially the folks over in Anguilla who came in for the Mango Festival, which just gone, and the folks from St. Martin, the folks who I met from Kenya, the Cameroon, Nigeria, the folks from Canada, just Virginia, just because of the love of mango. So it shows that the Mango Festival has already made a name of itself and is just for people to show up. The event, no great big brainstorming. It's just the event have been set. The model have been set already. So this year they made a shift by shifting the main shop, which I tend to be honored to display the mangoes, and then move the bar and put them down in the amphitheater area, which was a big mistake. I don't know why when something is not broken, you want to fix it. Because in no way, when you have an event, you're going to move the bar away from the stage. The bar is the point of any event because that's where you want to sell. That's a cash bar. Please not going to move from an area they're partying and walk all the way a mile to get a drink. That ain't going to happen. I don't care what the bar sell or how cheap it is. It's not going to work. So hopefully that will not happen again. But apart from that, a beautiful event as usual. People enjoy themselves. The musical lineup was great. I would just like to see other DJs also, man like Wolf and stuff like that, would speak less on the mic and would just play the music. The younger guys would talk a lot and stuff like that, and again, I'll find up some more and stuff. So, but overall, a good event. So definitely we gotta big up the NTA, the Nevis Tourism Authority, also with the restaurant hub, what they call it, back across, went up at the Heritage Village. That was a beautiful thing. Yahsonn, you were very busy day, both and myself and the young lady from over in Barnes that was doing the cassava bread, and the gentleman from the Brian Son selling. So all did well who in that part. So that is something that I think they should continue next year, because I just see that restaurant hub went very well, sold out. I mean, it's a lot of people. So, and it was just the perfect place for it to end it and engage themselves. So, and also all the media who came down from Barbados and Dominican in the United States, Canada. You just met so much people who do blogging in these events and stuff, and have the and show Nevis. So it's not just. And then once somebody made a suggestion, say they think they should make it the Nevis Mango and Fruits Festival. I mean, it's a suggestion. I mean, you can add more to it and different stuff, but it's still surround mangoes. No time, the agriculture department tend to do a food festival, but that event don't have the support around it, just like you have the festival of the multicultural event, which is already making a strive for itself. But overall, you got to give the NTA a good job for what it is, and coming up now is just 2 weeks, so you just, and then into Culturama. And next thing, I think they dropped the ball in, as the Minister of Agriculture was a host. I think this is the second or third time he's the host when it comes to dealing with the cook-off. The ball by not promoting Culturama at that event, and even having some of the contestant to be a partake in modeling on the show at when they have 5,000 people. So I think there it was a big time where they dropped the ball. All right, but anyway, we're gonna move into the topic that we're here for, to discuss OFA and our guest, Yahsonn.
Yes, and it's a pleasure having Sandra back again. Sandra was with us a couple of weeks ago, and we had a very engaging discussion, and it is now great that we have another member of the party, and so we'll be hearing a lot more about OFA. And I know we have been using the short acronym. By the time you guys introduce yourselves, you will be able to tell us, what OFA stands for, and some more about your roles in OFA and what OFA intends to offer that is different from what we're getting from these parties that we have already, because basically that's what you're seeking to demonstrate, that you'll be somewhat different or deliver something different from what is it that we're having, and that many of us see needs to be addressed and needs to be fixed. So with that, I am going to do it this way. even though Sandra, you were here before, we still gentlemen, and so we're gonna work with the ladies first. So we're gonna give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the public again. And even though you would have been here, like I said, we are widely listened to, and every time we open the platform, we do have new listeners. So let them know who you are, let them know your role in OFA, what OFA stands for, and then we would introduce your partner with us, your colleague, and then we would get into some of the discussions for this evening. So good evening, Sandra. Welcome to this exclusive edition of the Topiks for this evening.
Hi, good evening, Yahsonn, and good evening, Bankie. It's a pleasure to be
Good
back.
evening.
I'm really grateful for you all to afford me the opportunity so that we can talk more about OFA One Federal Alliance and what we're about and why we are so different to the other political parties. Along with me, I have my leader, Hance Richards, and he's going to introduce himself and he's going to tell you more about himself. Me, I am the communication director. So what happens, what I do, we're in the building stages. So what I do, I make sure that I communicate with people of great interest or people who are interested in knowing, who look in information, wanting to know what we are about. OFA, One Federal Alliance, we are a new political party, but we are not new to the politics in St. Kitts and Nevis. We are citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, and so we are exposed to what is going on around here. And because of our exposure and the fact that we live here, we decided that we enough should be enough, and we should want to bring something different to the people. We are very people centered, and that is something that we see or have seen that is seriously lacking in St. Kitts and Nevis. Politicians are self-centered and opportunists, and that is something that we need to stop. I've had discussions with other people, and based on the discussions that I would have had, we recognize that something new has to happen. I've said it over and over again that OFA is not just an alternative. We are the solution to what is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. Why? We have seen the areas that we need to start looking, paying special attention to. We have not just looked at them. We have sat with people who can make a difference and have had discussions on areas that we can make a difference where the people are concerned. We know that one of the problems that we have right now is jobs and no jobs. So that is one of the things that we at OFA, one of first, basically, one of our pillars of focus is about creating jobs, and more jobs. And if given a chance, we definitely are not given a chance. The people would recognize that we are the solution, and they themselves would want to vote for us or get us in office. We're not here like the other politicians trying to encourage or making our situation look like one that we need the opportunity. We're not looking for opportunities. We are looking for a chance to make a difference in St. Kitts and Nevis. As we go along, you will hear more about who we are, and the leader is gonna give you some insight of who we are and other areas that we really want to make a difference.
All right, so we're gonna now take the opportunity to welcome Mr. Hance Richards to the platform. So it's the first time for you on the platform, and we're looking forward to now hearing from the leader. So you're gonna get an opportunity to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where in St. Kitts you are from, and a little bit of your background, if you want. I don't know how far back you want to take it, and give people an opportunity to know who you are, and then we could get into some of the other issues. So thank you. Welcome to Real Entertainment Network.
All right, man. It's a pleasure. Thank you guys for having me. Thanks for everybody who's listening, home and abroad. It's a pleasure being here. Together we rise, which is our slogan. We always want to have people rising together and not one go leaving the other. So I needed to start there, and then go the economy, build our people, and protect our nation. Those are our cheap priorities. So I just wanted to start here that I give you the message pretty early. So let me speak a bit about myself. So simply, I'm Hance Richards. I'm from Sandy Point originally. Spent a lot of time in St. Martin. I went Sandy Point High School, primary school. I'm into a lot of things. So I would have an extended career dealing with people directly and indirectly, persons locally, regionally, and by extension internationally, and also part of many organizations. So I've basically been a part of every regional and almost international association, literally CXC, CONCACAF, UN, OAS, just name it. I had some kind of affiliation with them, CARICOM, and so it is now for me to use that experience. And most of all, I'm a veteran in the military, so I've been in the military for a bit, yeah. And I've also witnessed and experienced a lot of the high crime and violence that we would have experienced in the federation. Actually, I was actually a part of the backbone of the fight, and now what I'm doing is I'm dealing with crime and violence from a different angle, which is what I'm doing a PhD in. It's public health. So I'm looking at crime and violence and how it affects the federation as a virus, and you apply the different epidemiological principles. Simple being the things that you apply to COVID and Zika and dengue, you apply them to crime and violence, and it has been bring a lot of fruits. And to the federation, we realize that the crime rate has reduced significantly, and it's thanks to God and a lot of other things that were put into place for it to be that way. So that's basically who I am. Like I say, I also work with Cricket West Indies as lead fitness trainer. So I create programs, I observe like the biomechanics of the players, etc., etc. So like I say, I've had a very extensive career. I'm a very quiet guy. I mean, I saw Janet, Miss Maloney, sorry, a few nights ago, and she was saying, I'm not a person who normally speak about myself, but in this position I would have to. And I've been always encouraged to speak about myself, because I always believe it's not what you speak about, is what you present and what you give, your actions basically. And so we decided to create the party, the One Federal Alliance, and we wanted to make sure that everybody is a part of OFA. So it was now we have PLP, we have PAM, we have Unity, we have CCM, NRP. We have those parties that have their own philosophy. But how can we merge and have St. Kitts and Nevis becoming one party, 11 candidates with under one philosophy? Yes, there was a unity. It was a pretty good idea. But because there were different ideology and philosophy among the three groups, and I think that's where the choking came from. I think that's where the issues came from. So one might believe in hierarchy, the other might believe in dealing with the people. And so, that I think that's where it came from. So we decided, rather than we do it that way, let's get persons from Nevis along with us. So we make one party, 11 candidates, and so we move with one philosophy. All right. So basically, that's the opening part of who Hance Richards is, being the leader of One Federal Alliance, OFA. And like I said, I look forward to the questions and sharing what we're about and enjoying basically the experience with you guys and the listening audience.
Okay. You said something earlier. You said that you were part of the military. Just for clarity, you're not talking about our defense force here in St. Kitts and Nevis. You're talking about
Yes,
maybe the...
part of the Defense Force Reserve. For over 15, 20 years, I've been one of the street soldiers. Yeah, literally. It's St. Kitts
Okay.
and Nevis. I'm a sergeant in the Defense Force.
Okay, so that's the past. You're still affiliated or not necessarily affiliated?
I'm affiliated once the rules state once I'm not an enlisted member the day of nomination. So I have until then.
Okay.
So for me, Bankies and Yahsonn is all about serving. I'd like to serve. I will give all I got. And the ultimate sacrifice was obviously my life as a soldier. That's how I prefer to just serve. So anywhere I could serve, I would serve, and there's no motive behind it. I just want to have a better life than they think they could have, basically. So that's the intention.
Okay. So what is it that inspired you to looking at the history of our politics? Our politics is usually a two-party politics. I mean, we would have had individual parties popping up here and there, but what is it that inspired you to say, okay, I think now is the time for St. Kitts and Nevis to have a new, not a PAM, not a Labour, not a recently PLP, not a PLP, but something fresh. What is it that inspired you to say, okay, we need that?
Okay, so something that's personal and I've seen too often, and I even tie it in as an infection, a political infectious disease, which is victimization. And I've seen it, I've experienced it. I've so also I'm a physiotherapist. I'm a lot of things because I've studied for 13 years of my life. So I've done a number of things, right? And I've spoken to a number of persons, not saying that because of any government why they would have gotten sick, but the fear of losing their job, losing their liberty, losing the ability to go to work, being harassed by persons of the party of the opposition, any which way. And so things like those, for me, it was personal and it was harsh and it was hurtful because it's unfair. I mean, if you vote for Labour, if you're Labour and Palm is in power, you suffer. If you're Palm Labour is in power, the possibility remains the same. Similarly, with Unity, it's basically the same thing. So I think that if you're Kikusan and division, it belongs to us. It doesn't belong to anyone. All right, it belongs to everybody, not a single party or a single individual. And I think that's what we're not getting right. So you should be able to. And again, the country is so small, Bankie and Yoshan. It's almost inevitable that civil servants would not be interested in wanting to live a dream of a politician. You don't necessarily have to be at the prime minister level or the governor general level, but as a minister, as a senator, as a PS, it's inevitable. So why are we going to not allow persons to get that opportunity? Likewise, persons who are there and they say, this is what I like, I'm a labor. So because spamming, you're going to make me treat me like that. And then when the government change, it just basically vice versa happens. So for me, I think it's enough, and that's why I said we prefer to have 11 candidates from St. Kitts and Nevis, and nobody after election have to worry about a job. I'm going to lose my job. What if? What if? There's no what if. Your petition, let's rise. That's why I started out with together we rise. That's a non-negotiable for me. We will rise together. There's no victimization to the point where we are looking into doing the first draft of the anti-victimization act, and that's something that is going to be first and foremost on the table because it's really sad, so that's what really said, yeah, enough is enough. So as one of the most quiet petitions in the federation, I'm sure, I just decided. No, I've seen it. I've experienced it. People getting pressure, people getting stroke because they're not sure if they're going to lose their job after election. That can't be fair. That's not a good way to live. So I just think it's time for it to stop, and one day we'll stop. We can't continue like that. Can't continue like that. I don't think it's fair. So that's why
Okay,
I
so
decided to do this here.
from one of my observations as a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis is that it seems as if a lot of the people have gotten disinterested, and I don't know if it's disinterested or being so accustomed to being deceived by those who we elect and put our trust in, that there's some who have sort of like given up on the political arena. You're seeing evidence where um, I have not really done the statistics here for St. Kitts and Nevis, but I've listened to other Caribbean territories where seemingly the numbers that turn out to vote, the number of people who are eligible to vote versus the number of people who actually vote in terms of the numbers, you find in some cases like 38% or 36% of the population actually went out to vote, and it's because people don't have. There seem to me a need for the electorate to be more informed, because I think the problem right now lay with us, the politicians. I think they understand it as a game, and I think they're playing their part well in the game, and that is why some of them are successful at the end, because they're playing their part, and we, the masses, who should be playing our part as well, is not, and part of it is because of that lack of education. How do you how do you intend to fill that void in terms of seeking to educate the masses, because it's the masses you're going to have to touch and get to? What do you intend to do to help now to fill that void in terms of educating the masses so that they better understand the need for them to come out and for them to support and for them to be a part of the process.
Okay, yes, so what we have to first look at, we have to identify the areas that's posing problems and political division. People are very divided because of what they've seen in politics. Let's look at the economical situation, and we'll recognize that in politics, based on who political party that you favor, then you are rewarded differently. So it is so difficult right now to have people to recognize because you have some real diehards. It is sad that people don't call themselves a diehard from a political party because they support a political party. It doesn't matter what the leaders do, they will forever support the leaders. That is one of the issues that we see here. One, why? Because the politicians themselves, they keep us that way. They create division, the misinformation that you spread because of the fact that you want people to believe in things that are not so. And so, as OFA, these are the things that we are going to try to avoid. We don't want people to identify with any political party as I'm a PAM, I'm a Labour, I'm a PLP, I'm a CCM, or I'm an NRP. You are a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. And those are the things that we're going to be trying to encourage people to start looking at their position, where they themselves are positioned in the Federation, and see whether or not they are satisfied. We have to have different forums like we're having now, having discussions, making sure that we re-educate our people because we do not see debates amongst our leaders or candidates. We don't see enough of that because why? You want to keep the people in that state of mind where they don't have the information. You asked Hans earlier, who are you? What do you do? And he came out and tell you exactly what happens. Most of the candidates that you have, you never hear who they are. You don't know where they came from. You don't even know why they're into politics because most of them they're in there for an opportunity. And those are the things that we have to start as the electorate. We have to start to demand more, and we have to encourage people. We have to make sure that they're hungry enough to find out for the people who are going to represent them. Representation is key, and that is one of the reasons why I come back. Another area of political division is leadership, poor leadership. That is one of the problems that we face in St. Kitts for a very long time. Our leaders are too powerful. They decide and dictate what they want to do. We talk about dictatorship countries that we call them dictators, but at the end of the day, they have a policy, they have plans, and They operate under certain guidelines. In our country, we don't operate under any guidelines. We call ourselves a democratic country, but yet still our leaders are dictators. They say and do whatever they want to. It doesn't matter what the people feel or what the people think about it. For OFA, that is something that we want to change. We say we are people centered. We want to make sure that we encourage that discussion between leaders and constituencies, candidates and their constituencies. We want to encourage discussions. We want to make sure that our mandate is based on basically what our constituents having issues with. Those are the areas where we want to go. We want to make sure that we don't give people what we want to give them, but things that are necessary. So re-education is a must. We have to really start to encourage that kind of discussion, not where a leader is going to do something and we as the electorates, we can't say anything. Some people we call in the colloquial term, some people get their hands greased, some people are part of the brown paper bag where monies are passed. Those are the things that we have to change. That bribery situation, electoral reform, those are things that we have to seriously look at and make sure that our people have more say in the things that we do. For example, we have elections coming up, and the government or there's some political parties based on investments or the investors would have invested in their parties. They're allowed to bring people in from overseas who are going to come in for their vote and go back. Those are things that we want to change. We want to make sure that when you come electoral reform, when it's time for election, you have to be in the country for no less than 6 months, and that you can own because you have to be able to experience what we are experiencing as citizens. You have to understand when the electricity goes out and when there's no water to bathe and the hardships of going to the supermarket. You have to experience that to see whether or not you want it to continue or you really want to change. And those are the things that we have to seriously start looking at. Otherwise, we can always have this problem. We have in leaders and parties that are ruling us that's something that we don't want. We have people who are sitting out and don't want to vote. We have to encourage them. I mean, we have to create an environment where they think that it's necessary for themselves to vote, meaning that you have to create an environment of jobs where jobs are available. We have to create an environment of education where people know that they can, your daughter, your son can go further and further their education. So there are different environments that we have to create an environment where our entrepreneurs can do what they're studied to do. We have to create an environment where our small businesses are thriving, and people have to see these things happening and then decide, well, you know what? I think I want this political party to be in power. We have this issue. Unity was an idea that and nobody know about it because I've never spoken about it. But unity was my idea. But one of the problems that I had is that you gave it to people so that they can run it, and they didn't understand what the real idea was. We had political parties coming together, everybody coming with their own vision, everybody came with their own policies, everybody came with their own philosophies, and that is one of the areas. And the biggest problem was their intentions of all of them were different. And that was one of the biggest issues that we had with the unity construct. But it was a great idea. The idea was to pick out the best politicians from each political party and for the love of the country, bringing them together and see how we could make life better and easier for everybody else. But when people came in, they came in with their own intentions. They were looking for an opportunity for themselves. So what we have to do as a people, as an electorate, if we want to stop this from reoccurring, we recycling political parties. At the end of this, what is happening now? Everybody is busy getting something done because people don't remember the 3 years ago when we had no water, when electricity was an issue. People are remembering now that they're trying something. People don't remember 3 years ago when Bassett High School, the students had basically nowhere to go. And they were promised that we was given a state of the art school. People wouldn't remember the issues that you would have had at JNF, the health situation when you go up there as an asthmatic patient and you have to wait for 2 hours on the outside. I'm not exaggerating because I've experienced that. Wait for 2 hours before a doctor or a nurse or anybody in triage can come and look after you. People won't remember that. So what they're doing now, they're using that political ploy, those tactics, those strategies, where you're going to start doing things now. And then when you get in, when you vote them in again, another 4 years and nothing is going to happen. And on the fifth year, they're going to start doing things. We have recognized those things. And these are the things that we want to change. And the people should want that. They should want that kind of change. And so that is one of the reasons why we have discussions like this. We come onto podcasts like this. We don't want to discuss this of the other political parties. We don't have time for that. We want to look at solutions and how we're going to resolve most of the problems that we have within St. Kitts and Nevis. There are other problems that we need to seriously start sitting and strategizing of how we're going to deal with it, like the situation that we have Destiny coming to Nevis, and then there are other situations where we have hotels that are taking people from the sea area, the bayfront area. In St. Kitts, we have a lot of areas that we have to sit down and discuss of how our people are going to be placed in the position where St. Kitts and Nevis belongs to them, and they can rise however they want to in an environment that is conducive for them, where they can have sustainable jobs. Um, we have energy, and we can do it ourselves, where our own people can invest in these things, in opposed to having overseas investors who coming in and investing, and then making the decisions. So those are the things that we're looking at. We see it happening, and we want to make sure that our electorates are aware of what is happening. And that is why we are encouraging people to come out and be a part of OFA, have discussions and understand what OFA is all about, one federal alliance, and that we can come together as one St. Kitts and Nevis. We have to remember that St. Kitts and Nevis, there's only one government, that is the federal government. NIA is an administration. And these are the things that we have to seriously start in enlighten people. We have to start educating people that what we are doing right now, it's wrong. The information that we have is misleading. And we need strong people like you, Yahsonn, and people like Bankie to come in the forefront and start to say, we educate our people. Don't say our people don't want to change. It's not that they don't want to change. They don't know what the solution is. They don't have an option. And these are the things that we have to start looking at seriously. And so we need serious people to start doing
Let me
that.
piggyback. Let me piggyback on some of the stuff you touched on. For one, let me say today there was a march over here in Nevis, and you mentioned the Destiny, but I'm not sure if the march was also included any other thing like the high electrical bill that we're going through, the economy. I was just marching against the Destiny itself, but there are a lot of other issues that to be marched, whatever was your opinion on and stuff like that. Also, let me say to the Nevis civil society, and well, I was Asia because DJ Marisha is the one who did the booking for the date and stuff like that. So it have to be a conjoint collaboration, more or less. So let me say that, I mean, the match seemed to different people from the community and stuff like that. So that is always a plus. So I guess we'll hear more on that and how everything went and stuff like that. So it's good when people who are not accustomed to go out will go out, and that is what you need. Not the same set of faces over and over like is doing. Also,
Sure.
OFA is tend to be 111 different candidates, some over in Nevis and over in St. Kitts. And right now, the
Yes.
matter I spoke about that goes on today is about a project which tend to bring 10,000 families on the south side, and they have the right to have unlimited amount of land. It was limited to 2,600 acres or any minimum. Before, I think it was 500 acres, and then they had moved to any limited amount. If they want 10,000 acres of land, they can get 10,000 acres. So it's not specific to a specific number. And also where no taxes will be paid and all this different stuff. So what will OFA do, because for this to happen, the federal government have to sign on this dotted line. And also the former Prime Minister Douglas spoke about white gates. They got to do anything that is necessary so that white sub Z. And also earlier we mentioned when we were speaking, count went off. So on the team unity, St. Kitts is over 30, 40 years since independence with electricity. The Douglas administration have failed the electricity. The unity administration have failed it. And I gotta say, this one have failed it too, because they went in generators. What will OFA do when it comes to the Destiny project and also the economy and so forth? Because right now it's dead. It's basically dead. Or there's no money with the SSZ, with the CBI, as my friend, I just speaking lateral. Uh, Peter Adrian spoke about the economy from the IMF report, how bad the CBI is. So it's three things in one: the Destiny, the CBI, how that going to be revived, because now you have the European Union calling for shut down by a mandate, by a date, and electricity from there. Uh, any one of
All
you?
right, so very good questions. I welcome those questions. So as a leader, let's go back first to the Destiny project. The reality is I can't sit here and tell you I have the facts, because I don't have the facts on paper, the documentation. And so once I'm able to, which I'm in the process of trying to gather the facts, and then I'm able to respond to you accordingly, because it's important that we understand what it's all about. I don't want to say I'm hearing that this and this. I've honestly not received the facts, the documentation of the amount. One
Okay,
time I'm hearing,
let me put it like this then. What is going on in Nevis right now can include 4 seasons. A homeowner like me, a property owner who have more than one property, have to pay land tax, have to pay house tax. 4 season villas, $40 million villa, $100 million villa, they now pay no tax, no house tax. You over 10 to 1 policy people in Nevis. So what will you do about that? Destiny never pay, because you want to hear about facts, but the facts are, I interviewed a gentleman. He spoke. He says a CBI project. These are the facts. So you have to. So I'm the only one along with Yahsonn, Real Entertainment. Interview Mr. Johnson. So we're not doing hearsay. We're doing facts. So you could take my word for it. He say it's a CBI project. So need to know what we do about that. Can they come and use the money too? And in the federal government to agree on it. Those are facts. So you don't have to worry about finding the information. These are factual. So what will offer
So
intention in Nevis part when it come to the four season, paying villas them paying taxes, because they're not paying a tax. And these are the reality that existed. Because these are issues that want where our developer not gonna have a duty free area, section half in Nevis not paying no duty, not paying no kind of tax. These are facts. Okay? So back over to you.
yeah, no, okay, I get a better gist of it. So it is before I answer that fully. I remember I met
Yeah.
with a gentleman who said he wanted to be an investor, and I listened for about a half an hour to a number of persons speaking, and all I said to him, if your project is not going to make the federation, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis better, and have not just have no slavery job, but at least I give you the chance to have the CEO, Bankie. I said take the CEO, but anything under that it has to be local. So we're not accepting anything from you if all persons are going back into slavery. It must be beneficial to the country. You must be paying a tax. You must be paying you have to abide by the rules and regulation that govern the country. So now I understand it. The same thing apply, similar thing apply. Once you're coming with a project, regardless to what, you have to the similar things that apply in here has to apply to you. Whatever the negotiation will be, it must contain things to benefit, and again benefit the people of the federation, and again not no scrappy job, bet proper jobs, proper fun money making jobs, salaries that are reasonable, that can improve your standard of living, because obviously cost of living is a serious problem. You have to pay land tax. I mean, those things are given. That's not even a negotiation for me. You have to be responding to the way petitions and divisions respond right through. So that's my answer in a nutshell. Negotiation about doing what we do. You come in 10 kids, you have, because you can't go to another country and don't do the same. You understand? So it reminds me of Qatar when they had World Cup in Qatar 2022. Persons wanted to go and drink and party, and the Qatar leader said, no, this is Qatar. You have to abide by the rules and regulation of Qatar. There's no negotiation. Similarly, we can't afford to do that, because how does it improve our economy? If we're going to have a place where you have a million acres per se, 50,000 acres, 500 acres, 20,000 acres, and not paying tax for that, when me and you have to pay our tax, even though whether you're a leader or not, whether you're at school leaver who just get a piece of land from your dad or your mom, you have to find the cash to pay for the land. So why not you with that amount? Land, electricity, you have to pay all of those. There have to be some kind of other negotiation other than the things that are improving our economy, because the economy is in trouble. And in similarly, in reference to the CBI program and electricity, let's go with electricity first. So in our plans, I know that in Nevis they're doing geothermal, but they're not educating us about geothermal enough. People don't even know what that is. So what I would have done is do an extensive study on geothermal. Then the kind of staffing it with me, it would in the regions and in the region and the outer in the international hemisphere, where people need to go and prepare themselves, training. So as simple as you look, Banky and Yahsonn, one shift on the geothermal is almost 100 persons. The specialities, you have geothermal scientists, geothermal physicists, you have geothermal architect, and then you also need a hospital next door, because there's so many hazards as it relates to geothermal, that if there's any explosion, too much fumes coming up, and so persons have to wear a proper suit. You need to have a tube where before you go into the atmosphere or to the environment, or into the public, you walk through the tube so that you get cleansed and you go over. You need to have medical persons around. There are 20 medical personnel you need within that hospital. So these are the things that I could share with you. In terms of training, we planned in the second year, we're planning to send about Iceland, Kenya, Indonesia persons, about 200-300 persons for training for the geothermal, because we know that we do, again, just like the project, the what you call that, we just the easy, what you call that just now,
Yes. With destiny.
the Destiny project, just like that. All right, so we have people going out to study, and when they come back, they're prepared. So because we don't want persons, even though you're the ones who are responsible for drilling and all of that, we need our own people to know drill, because we have 5 areas where we could assume where there's potential for geothermal. The next one after this should be Sandy Point. All right, so we need persons to go and drill Sandy Point, and we don't want all the time having to bring persons in. So what happens when persons are studying and preparing themselves? The persons who are here are just running it. After 2 years, they would have to hand it over to us because we want to do our own thing. Too long, we always bringing in people thinking that we don't our own persons, our locals can do the job. That's not the truth. Because most of the time when they come in, they offer nothing. They're asking you, what do you do? But if you want to know what do you should study and find out what's going on in the Federation before you come and ask me what we have. Where have you been? But read. So they don't do no investigation. They come and they want you to tell them everything, but yet they're the ones with the $20,000 and $30,000 salary. So for me, that's not acceptable. So we send persons to chain. That's one. I also spoke with gentlemen overseas about solar panel. So solar panel happens a little faster. So that's a quicker access, and then you amalgamate it with the geothermal. Now with the geothermal, once it's completed, you can get after the first year, then people can start to see the cost of living drop in. If you have a maybe a $72 electricity bill, after the first year you might go down to $32. Within for the GDP, you get an increase of you save over $140 million thereabout when it comes to once it start operating, and we have a 10 megawatts. And so for us to be able to power St. Kitts and Nevis positively and then use the resources, so we have to keep our, just like in the US and those countries that have their oil reserve, we're going to have our geothermal reserve. So if we can have two more turbines to give you up to 30 megawatts, and or get a power stage a plant in Sandy Point. So you get the submarine cables and you join them. So what happened is you now would have about 40 to 60 megawatts, 40 to 60 megawatts. And then that's when you can export geothermal energy because of the submarine cable. Even those, you need your divers, you need your specialists in the environment. And those persons are Indonesia. Like, so I did an extensive study on all of these things so that when I come here like now to speak to you, I can respond to you and say, after 2 years, electricity would subside significantly as long as we apply all those principles and the persons will
One
go
of
out
the
and prepare
things,
themselves study.
one of the thing about the geothermal is that if if I'm building like today, I do this for people, whether it's for a greenhouse, for whatever it is. I'm good at doing estimates, contracting estimates and stuff for construction, fencing, decks, whatever. If you're gonna build a small greenhouse, are you gonna add a deck? You have to get an estimate and have an idea what it's gonna cost. I never
Cost.
have heard any kind of cost for this geothermal from the past where they've spent money and holes and clogged them back with cement and all this different stuff. And everybody keeps talking about this geothermal. And they borrowing money from the Saudis, even from Antigua, putting in millions of dollars, from the federal government to some of the local banks. And nobody tell me what is money going to do, when it's going to happen, and all this. And there's so much other people. Dominica started these things years ago and still moving ahead of us. So I need to hear a base price. It's going to cost 300 million, $1 billion, and at what point will it be operational? I'm not getting the information. So for me, I don't entertain the geothermal thought, but I understand what you're saying because you're in your party getting in power. But these things have to come up with no, if you're going to convince someone like me about geothermal, how much it's going to cost to get it to this point after drilling and getting, and then to ship out current with the underseas lines, because I understand the concept too. I tend to do it for myself, because I myself was in Indonesia doing training in Padang and stuff like that. So I understand what you're talking about. But when it comes to here, we're not giving a price when it comes to what you're going to cost for it to turn on the switch. And it's so much time have been spent and money have been used and no accountability. These are some of the issues I have with what's going on right now. So when new parties coming up, they gotta be so much be more different. And so that these are the things we're gonna change, because this is what you're all speaking of, changing what exists now. So you guys gotta come and say, well, these are what geothermal would cost at this point, and then to get it into the grid, and all the same to with solar panel. Solar is like cool. Why we're not doing these things and having, you see what I mean? Because right now, Nevis itself is the cost of electricity is so high. Right, electrical bill now come down, maybe $60 come off. Well, me not feel good about it, Cabinet is supposed to pay a surcharge, period. With the money that had been invested and wasted when it comes to the CBI and going into Christoph Harbour and the bank, the people like Marriott and those investors, I convinced we should not be paying no water bill, no current bill, and we should have the best infrastructure that there is, because we are putting our money into people like Destiny and all these big developers. We are being canned as a people. So I want to hear from anyone coming up now that the people of Single Slave is gonna not gonna pay no tax neither. The VAT gonna get off. These are things I want to hear. Why are they supposed to pay? Because the people eyes are open to see what is really going on. We really need to see a range that is tangible and not just words. You see, this is what we're looking forward to, because the resources is our resources, and as a small business person and many more, they're not feeling it. They're really not feeling it. Want to get into agriculture and all and small business, and they're not getting it tangible. And we're the one
Yeah.
who keep the economy afloat all the time. Yes, you want to say something,
Banking,
son?
yeah, Bankie, you're right. And I think that we have to start looking at how our people are affected. We as politicians, we tend to say things that are, and I understand exactly what Hans is saying. We definitely have to start to look and see the effects. Let's take into consideration first. You mentioned the Four Seasons issue. We have Four Seasons. They're just like all of us. They are the ordinary people. They have villas. They have lands. They're not paying any house and land tax, but the ordinary man has to pay house and land tax. Why? Secondly, you're trying to accommodate. This is from my point of view. We're trying to accommodate an entity like Destiny, and when we look and see what is going to happen, it's just another one again. We see that these projects that they're doing, they're not completed. The White Gate was an issue. We see Christoph Haber being an issue where all our monies or electricity, they owe us so much money for electricity, and then government is going to look at trade-offs. What happened to the ordinary man? And this is why we say at OFA, One Federal Alliance, we are going to seriously start taking the ordinary man into consideration. We are not saying that our people are not going to pay bills. We are not saying that they're going to get electricity free, and we're not saying that they're going to have water free, but we have to recognize that the investment that we are making is the people's money that we're using, the money that they would use to pay their taxes. We're using the people's money. And at the end of the day, at one point in time, the people must see some relief along the line. We have to realize that our people are suffering. We are bringing in these people who are benefiting from us. They are seriously benefiting from us. Why Destiny would look at Nevis, a small country like Nevis, and want to settle there with 10,000 people? Why we as Nevisians would want to accommodate something like that? These are the questions we have to ask. Why a government in position would want to encourage something like that without transparency or information given to the people? These are the questions we ask as ordinary citizens. Why? And the problem that we're not getting, the problem that we're having is that transparency is seriously lacking. We don't know what the intentions are. These people come and settle, and when they settle, then you realize issues. I mean, a company owing government how much, $10 million for electricity? We have a company like Marriott who comes in here. We don't even know whether that Marriott's having issues, and they're gonna just come in and then they're gonna waltz out. They're gonna owe the government all this money, and the government is not gonna do anything. But the ordinary man who's struggling because of a poor economy that the government has not invested properly in or was able to manage properly, we have to suffer the consequences. We have to have jobs in order to pay for our electricity bill. We have to have jobs in order to pay for water bill. The government is not providing those things. You're creating social programs where you're minimizing our talents and our skills because you don't have any ideas of how to make a difference. And this is what we're saying. We need to start looking at people who have ideas and vision of where the issues are and where we're going to put our people. I don't want to sound like the ordinary politician, because like I said, when unity became an issue and the discussions that we have, we were talking about the areas that we're going to focus on, and look around and you try to find out what were they focusing on. You don't see any evidence of what the focus was, what their visions were, what their policies were about. And it's the same thing. What if you look around St. Kitts and Nevis, what are the policies of the government, NIA and Labour? What are their policies? You don't see it forthcoming because everything is being done ad hoc. Whereas now everybody's trying to create an impression so that people can be fooled again into voting for them for next term. We have to change that. Or people, we talk about re-education. We talk about re-education comes with information. And that is one of the things that we have to start looking at. Informing the people, having discussions and debates and letting our people understand where we're really going to take them. Why destiny is the question. Why? Why are we focusing on Marriott? And look at if you look at what is happening in Marriott now, you'd recognize that there are issues. And more sooner than later, Marriott is going to change hands. Do we know what is happening over there? Those are major hotels. Why can't we have people in St. Kitts and Nevis who have enough money to invest in things like this, in opposed to bringing in foreign investment? Why we can't tap into the talents of our people and the resources of our people and try to make things and even better so that our people can benefit. When the Indians come, they bring their Indians counterparts. When the Chinese come and you look and see on the pickup when they're going to do construction, it's all Chinese going to the construction. These are rules that we have to look at constitutional reform. We're talking about all the other things that we have to do, but constitutional reform is a must. We have to start looking seriously of how we're going to make sure that our people are protected and our people, we said we want to empower our people. How are we going to empower our people? These are the focus that we have to. But at the end of the day, we have to reach out to our people itself, because they still want to vote for these political parties because they are so brainwashed. That's why we talk about political division. They are so brainwashed in becoming a party affiliate in opposed to a citizen. People are going to tell you, oh, I'm a Labour, I'm a PAM. No, that's not who you are. You're a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. And until we can break that mindset, we're gonna be in the same situation. It's a lot of work we have to do, but we have to start doing the work. In order for us to make progress, we have to start to deal with the people who can make a difference. The politicians who go out and they would mingle with you and we're happy because we have that mentality where if you talk to a politician, you're important. We have to change that. We have to start working on our self-esteem, understanding what our values are and our worth or what our self-worth is. Otherwise, we're gonna have issues like that where investors are gonna come in. Where you have money is that one party gonna tell you, we have invested how many millions in Bassi High School. And then another party is going to come in and tell you, we have already invested in how many millions in Bassi High School again. And where's Bassi High School right now? Something is just coming out of the ground. And we don't hold our representatives or our leaders foot to the ground. We have to come out now and start to say things. What we're afraid of, yes, when I speak out, yeah, Skellig is going to come and realize, oh, she have issues with the electricity, and they're going to disconnect you. And what do? We sit down and we allow it. We have to stop it. These are the kind of things we're afraid of victimization. That's what Hans said earlier. We're afraid to be victimized because we put ourselves in a position where the government is the leader and we are the subjects. No, we
I
vote
want
them
to
in. They're the
piggyback on something you mentioned. I want to piggyback on something you mentioned. Currently going on is to bid, and that been land breaking long time. We've got a few projects in St. Kitts, the Smart Hospital, the Bassi High
Yes.
School, been a lot of talk going on for years and for years, and it's it's a real shame that the school have been left like the memories and school have been put in place, and there's so let's say OFA get into be the government with the contract over in Barbados where you're building a school and the contract is overseas where slabs are being built. You could have done in field building blocks and them inside there. I mean, these things don't make no sense. What will OFA do when it comes to something like this?
We
Also,
have
when it comes
consequences.
to moving the economy forward as it is stagnant right now, what is your plans? But when we come back from the break, we're going to a break shortly after that. We'll get into the part with some of your policies. But you can touch on the situation where we speak about the Bastia High School and all this project which still going on. So what will you all do with all these projects that still exist?
Good question. So you said
You're gonna do
we're
that.
gonna take the break first, right? And then we
No,
respond
go
back
ahead
from
and
there.
then when we're ready, we'll take the break.
Okay.
But you can
Okay.
go ahead
So
and yes.
let me slow down let me slow down the conversation just a little bit. All right, just a little bit. I want to slow it down because we what we want to do, Bank, and I spoke to you about it. We want to do a series. And when I say a series, we want to make a build a house. So today is the foundation because like if we there's so many things that we have laid out and planned to speak about. All right, so we don't want to lose the direction and lose people. So we're going to keep coming back and keep bringing the facts. So let's say we come next week, we give them a recap, and then we go to the next thing. So the reason why I say that because then you asked about what our plans for to make money basically. So I started with the geothermal, and somebody said it's expensive. One of the messages I saw, but it's worth it. Yes, it's worth it. Banky, if the country have $100, I spend $90 for the children, people to go and study, come back and we own everything and be able to run and make money. So
Yes.
we have to invest. And when I say that, there's no limit. There's no limit. So let's say we have 400 persons literally who's supposed to go and prepare this the chi shift and the 1 hour shift for the geothermal, etc. And you ask about it. The reason why I'm talking about it because it could put us a good distance. I'm not sure where we are, but there are different there are different categories to it until it becomes commission. But we need to train people first. One of the things an investor told me on a phone, he said, "Let me tell you what you have to do. Train the people first. Investors like train people, but we're training people for our geothermal. What comes after that? After we finish within a year and a half, within the first half a year to 2 years, and let me repeat again, first 6 months to 2 years is going to be an outflux of persons training. People are leaving federation to go in abroad for agriculture because we're going to go back into solid agriculture, feed ourselves. COVID was scary. Nobody know what was happening to COVID, but we had no reserve. We always have to wait on a ship to come in. And we have so many farmers in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, but we always have to wait. So we're going to create a lot of reserve. We need reserve, so we're going to bring back even Bankie Yahsonn. I've studied where we're going to get the sheep, where we're going to get the type of sheep we're going to get. We're going to get the animals from the bovine, the ovine. We have done that research, but that's what I'm saying. I want to take my time and present the facts. And just like I sent you the poster, because we're
That,
always going to
that's gonna
post
go
up
up
things.
after the break. The post is gonna go up after the break, and you can speak on that.
Yes, yes, yes. That's what I'm saying. So even I want the listening audience to understand that the posters are going to go up, and not just posters but documents. You're going to read, allow you to read and see where we're going, see what we're talking about, educate yourself about the way forward, and you decide. But I'm going to give you the facts, and I'm going to give you detailed facts. Give me between now and Wednesday for me to post the facts about the things, some of the things I would have mentioned today. Facts. I mean, it's important that people understand. So I'm saying agriculture, then we do agriculture. All right. And what we do for agriculture is that we become self sufficient. So we got Holland, we got Australia, we got Israel. And these are different sectors of agriculture that we need to get the animals, to get the training. And then we look at two things that are very dear to me, Banky and Yoshan. I really want to hurry because I'm really trying to save these for later, but they're interested. And one of them is the G2, the Peter 5. And what the Peter 5
All right,
is, and the Peter,
hold the thought. Hold the thought. We're gonna take the break, and then we're gonna come back. When
okay.
we come back from the break, we're gonna put up the
Sorry, the Peter,
what some of your plan is, and then you can go through it.
yes.
So and then yes, and you can go through some of the messages and any question that is there, and then we can turn the conversation. So technician,
At Shabazz Organics, we believe real people deserve real food. So we're bringing you to Mansa's Last Stop, a farm where food barriers are removed and legacy is sustained. We believe there's power in picking, so we allow you to decide what leaves the farm and enters your kitchen organically.
beat the summer heat. Come and get your carambola, star fruit, make very nice drink. Come pick them yourself. All the trees them full of vitamin C, antioxidant, build up your immune system. Mine's the last stop. A whole shopping bag for only $10. Half a shopping bag you pay $5. If you get $2, you must get some. Come get your carambola. Don't want to go wait. Let's go, people.
When comfort, class, and reliability matter, choose the ride that delivers more. Imperial Rides Transportation Services, where every journey is treated like royalty. From airport transfers, private events, shopping trips, island tours, and executive travel, Imperial Rides moves you in style, clean, comfortable, on time, every time. Book your premium taxi or tour service today. Call or WhatsApp 869-665-8459 or email elandflavas@gmail.com. Imperial Rides Transportation Services. Your journey, our priority.
Into some of the conversation. So, Mr. Richard, the mic is yours. If you can speak what the post is about, and
All right, so we were, like I said, we're going to be as transparent as possible, and every time we have a conversation, like we started tonight, and you could see the facts right there, we're going to share documentations with the listening audience, the viewing audience, so that they could observe for themselves, they can research for themselves, they can make their own informed decision. So we have the priorities: grow the economy, build our people, and protect our nation. And the six pillars fall within those key priorities. And I was making mention of something to you which fall within these pillars and priority was I was going to talk about the P25 and the elderly. So the P25 basically is affordable living, because what happened in that is, well, ladies who are pregnant, once you're conceived and you're pregnant, sorry, once you're pregnant, my humblest apologies. What happened is you then go to the health center, and within that office or outside, we create an office for that as well, if based on the number of persons with women who are pregnant. But the joy is that you're now able to receive some kind of funding from the federal government. So let's say you go to you get a card and you go to Rams, Hartsford, TDC, wherever you need groceries, you need um, Pampers, you need milk, etc. You would have, let's say, maybe $500, $1,000 on your card, and you're able to get discount. But that card has 500. That doesn't mean that you're getting it for free. So let's say it's $20, you will get the milk for $10. So the government would invest in that. All right. So what happened is, sometimes women are pregnant, they can't catch transportation, they are not unable to walk to the health center. So here's job creation again. So we are going to hire Uber drivers. So those who have Ubers and want to go into rental, we are bringing a system to you, a Uber system to you. So you're going to serve the pregnant woman, P to 5, meaning the pregnancy to when the child is 5 years, and the elderly. So you're going to assist them in getting to the hospital, getting to the clinics, picking them up after delivery, helping them to get their medication. Same thing for the elderly. So the family signed off, and so we would have the Ubers would be assigned, and we're thinking of a uniform body that would be assigned so that collect the information, the documentation from the elderly or from the individual, the mother and the child. Because oftentimes you see a mother walking downtown, a bag on she back, pushing a cart or one in she hand. You know, it's so we have to kind of look out for our future. So the whole intention is to help our youth, help our future. But don't forget the work that the elderly would have put in to bring us where we are. All right, so we focusing on that. And when it relates to tourism growth, this is for me an important thing. So 2030, our plan in OFA is to make St. Kitts get St. Kitts two languages officially, Spanish and English. How is it so? We realize that during the dull season of tourism, they we focus on CPL, and my hearing is that we're going to lose the franchise. St. Kitts Nevis Patriots. I'm hearing to Grenada, and I heard that from cricketers, and so we're going to be we focus a lot on CPL and music festival to assist us and culture in our financial stability during the off season for tourism. But that's on the offer that would dissipate. How does that work? So we're going to send again, Yahsonn and Bankie, the first half a year to the second year. Persons are going to Argentina, Chile, Colombia, etc. to North and South America to study the culture and the language, because we realize within the Central and South America, specifically the South America, Panama downwards, because Panama is pretty close to South America. They're going to winter. So how can we tap into their winter and bring them here? So we have already started the process of finding out how we can get that done. And we know we start with a Panama leg, Panama, same mountain here. So they don't leave, so they go back to the same route, so the planes don't leave empty. And then after maybe 2-3 years, when it is settled and it becomes a thing, then we can have direct flight from St. Kitts, Colombia, Panama, or straight from Argentina here. So we're going to have students exchange, we're going to have sporting exchange to build that relationship and rapport with the South American family, and then we tap into that. So that's what we're looking at. So when we have the dull season from the North American and the European, we're going to go into the South American tourism. All right, so we're going to tap into that and increase our capacity in terms of GDP. And one of the things we're doing is we're focusing on things that are helping us to build economy. What we have, for example, we look at our GDP with tourism and CBI. We realize the CBI is very fickle at this time, and we can't depend on that for the next 5, 10, 12 years. So the plan that we have is a 10 to 15 year plan. And CBI is basically money that we use normally. It is not something that we look forward to. So we're going to have reserve, or we put it as a reserve rather than making it a dependent means of income. With after 3-5 years, then it becomes a reserve. If it still exists, I'm hoping, because it has a lot of positive to it nonetheless. And so we're looking at that. All right. So basically that's the top. I gave you the economy. I gave you the economy part, and then priority, and then obviously we have build our people, and then we have secure our people. So let's focus. I want to focus on grow the economy. So those are some of the ideas I gave you in terms of growing the economy. All right.
Then we're gonna look at we talk about the energy independence where you mentioned, and we saw it tonight where we were late because of the fact that electricity went in our area, and those are the things that we in. What happened to our sugar industry, Bankie and Yahsonn? We recognize that we were still operating in the 18th century sugar industry in the 21st century, and that was one of the things that forced us to get ourselves out of sugar. And it's a similar thing that we're doing with our electricity. We're operating an electricity system that was how many years old, and we recognize now that time has changed considerably. We had the fossil fuels, we have situation in yeah, wars, and you recognize that is one of the reasons why our electricity, our fuel bill is so high. Those are the areas that we have to look at. We have to look at how we can become independent of using those kind of stuff and making sure that we have energy sufficiency. So those are the areas that we have to seriously start looking at. We can't give you all the answers one time because we're still in the process of looking at what is happening and making some adjustments. We are not all experts. We are basically getting the advice from some of the experts because that's what we do. We are basically in discussions of areas that we have issues and areas that we want to focus. And we have the experts out there and they will guide us where to go. We understand and we see now that we're looking at solar. Solar is, we know it has its advantages and disadvantages. When the sun is down, we would not be powered by solar. So there are other technologies that we have to look at to complement our solar investment. That's what the government is investing in right now. And so these are the things that we have to, like I said, these are the people that we have to interact with. They have to start making plans of how we're gonna move forward. But these are the things that we see and we understand. And because we are not all experts, we have to indulge with the experts and see how we could make these kind of differences. Because we cannot continue the way we are going, where electricity just goes off abruptly. It damages people's appliances and a government based. Sometimes you're refunded and other times you're not. What happened tonight that we were inconvenienced because of the fact Qantas went off without any warning. And you see these things are going to continue to happen. We would have invested, like you said, in millions of dollars in transformers and other things, not transformers, with generators and other things to help with the enhancement of our electricity. Then you ask the question, who benefits from that? We have been looking at things that benefit certain individuals and not the country. Because the decisions that we make, it's obvious we don't benefit the country. We talk about smart hospitals. Our hospital that we have right now needs a lot of work. The services that we have, we're still playing, trying to see whether we're going to use Cubans, Ghanaians, Filipinos. We are looking at every single body except our own. Why don't we have doctors of our own who are trained? I see a lot of song and dance was made over the new cardiologists that we have at the hospital. Well, we have had a cardiologist here for such a long time. If that was important, then we could have tried to work along with the cardiologist and see how she's going to still man her private business and be attached to the hospital. We didn't have to wait until this time now to go looking for a cardiologist out of Cuba because of the fact that we have them here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but we overlook our people too much. We always want to look overseas. Do you know why? Because at the end of the day, I suppose that is how certain people can become enriched, and there are certain things that we would have to overlook. Transparency is one of the areas that we've been focusing on. We realize it's not coming, it's not forthcoming, and there must be a reason for it. And these are the questions that we seriously have to ask the government. But then more so, the electorates have to know we're asking questions, but yet still we are voting in the same people. We're going to get the same results. We have to re-educate our people. Re-education is a must. We say that you and I have had discussions, Bankie, and you think that the people don't want it, but the people don't know of the alternatives. They don't know of the alternative. They're looking at what they have now. So we have to start looking at the younger generation who have no affiliations to any political party, who have understood the hardships on the labor or the hardship on the unity and realize that they want to change. So these are the kind of things that we have to look at right now. How we
Okay,
are going
what we're
to
gonna do?
this new set,
Yeah,
this new, huh?
I saw some
we,
questions I wanted
no,
to kind of
we're gonna
answer.
get in. We're gonna get in the question that they've been posted on the wall. So yes, I'm gonna get into some of the question, and then you guys, when after yes, I get in the question, one of the things I want you all to give out the information where people can find information. Whether you all have an
That's what
email,
I
a website. So yes,
yes.
and let me get into some of the conversation the people have been having, and we can continue the conversation when we're done with that. And
Okay.
also, the telephone lines are open. If anyone want to be a part of the discussion, the telephone line is 1-869-662-7196. You want to be part of the conversation to any one of the part, you can call and we get you in, and you'll be brief and concise with your questions. We get as much calls as possible. Go ahead, Yahsonn.
All right. So we've got Delicious Nickel Brown saying greetings all. We have on the YouTube side of things, and we want to take the opportunity to encourage those who are locked on, and if you are logging in for the first time, we encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube platform. Click on the notification bell so that you're informed every time we are having a show. Like, so that also, we can be moved around in the algorithms and more people can find us. And so more people can benefit from what you are benefiting from right now, as in listening to our interesting conversation that we're having here on Real Entertainment Network. Oliver Liebert says, "Hi, good night, Kings, and all in the house." He says, "Yahsonn, I did not see you, bro." Well, I don't know. Maybe I came around a little bit late, but I was around, and so I actually did, utter my 2 words on the microphones this afternoon at the march before I left. So if you didn't see me, then it meant that you probably left a little bit earlier. You moved away for a little bit. Sima 13 says, "Greetings, Bankie Yahsonn and the guests." Elisha Forbes says, "Hi, Sandra. Good to see you." Eskari says, "So equal opportunity then. No more political favors and political discrimination." Slaughterhouse says, "Greetings and love, Queen and Kings." Carlisle Paris. Carlisle Paris has a point here that when you mentioned about people living on the territory for 6 months, it was something that I was concerned about and I was going to bring to the table as well. Because a lot of people sometimes talk about absentee ballots. And this is the opposite of that, because this is now seeking to make provisions for people who are not on island, like they do in the US, for example, where, they don't have to fly them in now. They could make but then this takes away from the point that Sandra was making, that, well, we need to make sure that you're here and so that you could experience what we're experiencing on the ground with the bad power and all that. So anyway, so I brought that up in because Carlisle is making the point that social media makes it possible for interested persons abroad to know what is going on at home. So finding ways to curtail their voting opportunity seems like an attempt at discriminatory policy. And that's a view. Trevor Benjamin says, "Blessed evening all. I'm listening. Who is the gentleman?" Well, Trevor, I think somebody answered you already too, but he is Mr. Hance Richards, and he is the leader of the party OFA, One Federal Alliance, and they're who we are interviewing here this evening. Carlisle Paris responded and says he is Hance Richards, leader of the new political party, One Federal Alliance. Eskari says, "What about keeping better track of the diaspora? That's a resource. Even if you send people to study, they end up married, etc. You can't just write off all those people. It's a waste." Escari said, "I saw Guadeloupe, St. Martin do something like that." Well, I don't remember exactly what point she was making in reference to that, but
Geothermal they were speaking about. I
okay,
think that's what they were speaking about. If I'm not mistaken.
Trevor Benjamin says, "Geothermal is an expensive venture, but in the end, it's worth it. The submarine cables are something else, a hefty cost." Trevor Benjamin says, "Thanks, Carlisle." Escari says, "Trevor, anything that makes us self-reliant and free of foreign dependency is worth it." Escari says, "Decolonization is what she is describing." Trevor Benjamin says, "I'm one who embrace change, but the issue I have is that no one saying what policies will be put in place to hold politicians accountable for stealing and misuse of public funds." Elijah Forbes says, "My girl, if they could admit to 10,000 families coming, only God knows the real number, because all they do is lie. It could be 50,000 or 50 to 100,000 or more. Who knows?" Elisha Forbes says, "Mr. Richards, how do we see the information that you will be posting?" I think maybe she meant the information that you had posted on the wall, how they will get access to that information.
One Federal Alliance on
Yeah, I'll give you a
Facebook.
chance to respond. I'll give you a chance. I'm just going to
Of
finish
course,
up the last couple of comments.
no
The
problem.
politicians in my book who fails to introduce policies to hold politicians accountable are the same. Just different players, but the same game, same playground. This is something that I guess, in response to certain things that I heard you mention, that I realized that that's a serious challenge that you guys have come in as a new party, because we are tired of seeing that happening over. Hearing politicians come sound very good, and then they get in, and some of the same issues that they campaigned about are left there. They linger. They don't do anything about it. I mean, we have a perfect example with the um, electoral office. Those who were in, they guarded the office, and those who were trying to get in, they said all kind of things were going on in there. And then when they got in, they seem to not have the need to rush to fix some of those things that need fixing. Escari says, what do you think of an SKN bridge? We can then invest once instead of twice in resources and open a bigger market for people of business and use it to decentralize government between both islands. Sigaskel says, the works to mature our people to vote beyond cult, and the merit of a public service record is in process. It requires sacrifice, and I applaud OFA for coming forward to offer an alternative. Teko Selassie says, the University of the West Indies has facilities and lectures. The government has to lead seriously. We are the government, and that is part of the problem that I am seeing. I think as we speak about a re-education, these are some of the things that we need to understand. And I think when we do better understand this, then we would do see the need to be able to hold those who really and truly are our highest paid servants, and stop having them use the reverse psychology of making us feel like they're our bosses. And until we could get our people, the masses, to realize that this is what we need to do in a lot of cases, and step away from the partisan politics and look at issues from a national standpoint, how it affects the country overall, and not just the party you support or the politician that you support. I think when we get to that level is when we would begin to see the changes that we need to see. Because some of the problems we have in terms of transparency, I mean, what I think is happening, and I've heard this, not directly, but indirectly coming from our elected officials. They have begun to accept our lack of holding them accountable as being the norm. And so when you do now begin to hold them accountable, then you seem to be problematic or be like the bad guy. So for example, you would hear politicians say, oh, well, I mean, this is the first time we're going to be bringing a project like of this magnitude to the public in terms of the destiny. Because all of these other projects, we would not have been privy to whatever negotiations were made by them, which is true. Like, for example, the Christoph Harbour, the Kittishan Hill, the other projects and so on. We really don't know. Sometimes it's only when one government go out and another one go in, and through the parts of trying to get into power, we get access to certain information that we can then, put out and say, well, oh, this was in, this deal and blah, 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 blah. But then the same party that expose those information go in and make similar deals with similar developers to achieve similar objectives. How are we really going to be able to fix these things? How are we really going to get our people to that level where we really begin to hold, and even you guys, because if you guys are supposed to be successful, what I am seeking to achieve here is what we would expect you all to do without we having to force you all or beg you all to do. We'd hope that you all put in place policies that ensure that whenever certain major projects come, the people it's brought to the people can see it, the people can have a say, even if you're then up to do what you do because you claim, because it's what the leaders are claiming, that, well, you have given them the mandate to lead, and they are leading. Leaders have to make tough decisions. And so even though you might be pushing back, we still have to do what we have to do. And so how do we balance this out and ensure that the people are consulted, and the people then, if you opt to do something totally different to what they say, well, the only thing we can do is either seek to get a vote of no confidence or wait until a next election to make those changes. So how do you think that you as OFA is going to address these sort of challenges and be the change that we want to see?
All right. So any responsible government will do, one of the first thing they will do is create an implementation division or ministry that holds you right there, and then it's an accountability ministry. So you can't just go and give contracts to anybody. You have to go through the process. And like I said, the reason why OFA came to the fore is because we don't want to continue the rhetoric of PAM labor, PLP, all of that. We want people to get opportunity. So let's say we get into office, two of you are my friends, do you get all the contracts? No, that don't make no sense. Right? We want to be able to open and allow persons to say again.
1 second. I mean, just based on what you said a while ago, it prompted me to ask then, what is your view on the SSZ? Because what the SSZ is seemingly doing is to take away a lot of what you are saying, because the SSZ is seeking to put the Prime Minister and the Premier in a position where they don't necessarily have to go through some of these checkpoints that you're speaking about, and they can just make a decision like they're doing now with the Destiny, where it was just handed to the Premier, and him and maybe whoever in his cabinet, if they actually even did look at it, he's able to send it down without any consultation with, like, say, planning and environmental study and all that, impact study and all of these things and so on. So a lot of these things that you're saying is seemingly taken away by now this new SSZ legislation that is put in place. So what are your thoughts on the SSZ itself as you continue to respond to the question? Now I'm putting that into perspective.
But like I said, any responsible government should have a ministry of implementation, because once you have a ministry of implementation, you hold everybody in the environment, and that's a ministry that should be separate and apart from government headquarters, and it should be a very highly protected and run ministry, because you want to know who is getting the contract. We have to post the cost. We have to also send out what you call that, surveys to get persons' response based on the enormity of the project and how it's going to affect persons. You have to get people's response. So you kind of have a project that, for me personally, I would not have a project that says without persons being happy. And as a matter of fact, I'm a researcher. So the first thing I'm going to do is research. Research meaning I need to get the public's response through survey. So let's do a survey. If I give a 5,000 acres, 50,000 acres to a foreign entity, or even your bank, or your shop, I give 50 million acres. How will this affect the public? What do you think about it? You won't be able to go into their projects. You won't be able, and if you go in, you have to go to one gate and all these things. Let the public tell me what their feedback is, and I have to tell them how the Ministry of Implementation has to present how is it going to benefit us. The annual amount is going to add towards the GDP. How that amount is going to trickle down into the public, whether to schools, national security, etc. That's what you call a responsible government. So you should not do projects these size, even the Boston High School, even the hospital. Those are serious projects. So whereas you need a ministry of implementation, that's an accountable ministry. That's the number one reason why it's there. In addition, the electoral situation, and I say this with no disrespect to anybody. We have, I mean, the electoral, you selecting an supervisor of election. He should be separate and apart from any political. He should not have no affiliation, because it's a serious position. That's a cheesing position. That's a very serious position that person will hold, and we have to find a better way to select persons so that when we have our convention and our congress, whatever we have, that person has should not have any affiliation with any party going forward, because then it shows that you're not going. The intention is what could happen after that when there's an election around. So all these comes in accountability. So persons are asking, same person's accountability. One thing with me is, and again, we presented our facts tonight, so you could see our vision and you could start holding us accountable. So we give you from smack on. I came in as the leader and I gave you smack on. What are my visions? What are the priorities? What are the pillars? And we go from there. And then I would just build on that. That's accountability. I can't recall that has happened before. So we just bring in new things, and it's not just, again, the other thing is, as a leader, you can't be a leader, Yahsonn and Bankie, and have an inferior complex or be intimidated by people's progress. For me, you have to be better than you were before if you're around me. I will feel like a failure if I am a leader and you're no better than you were when you first came. Or you become an angrier person than when you first came. Or you become a more um basically treat people like crap because you have a position. But that does not reflect who I am. Who I am is rise, allow people to rise, and that's why I came with the slogan "Together we rise." And we had a picture where we had Nevis and Think is doing this together, elevating together. Together we rise, because I mean I can be intimidated by a young man whose mother eating chain $1 bread between, well, $3 bread between 7 children, and he has a degree, and because his mother has no name, because he's a PAM or he's a Labour or he's a PLP, the party in power just turn a blind eye to him. No, we can't do that. If the guy is qualified, give him the opportunity, change people's lives, and that's what we're about. Change people's life, give people a chance to decide their own fate. And we're not telling people, the gentleman spoke about people going away and get married and what's not. How it's going to turn out, because of the importance of you with this project, we're going to assign you that, again, responsibility. We're going to assign you to a contract, a 2-3 year contract, depending on the intensity or the level of study that you're going, or preparation. So even if you get married, you're coming back to a job. But we don't want to hold you on to the job. If you think that you have brighter pasture after 3 years, that's on you. Make yourself something better. But so we don't want to educate you. You feel like, oh, OFA give me a job. OFA didn't give you a job. You study, you prepare yourself, we create the environment for you to get the job. At the end of it, on your contract, and you think your wife wants to go back home, she's from Indonesia, where you went, Kenya, Australia, that's on you. All right, so that's why we have to keep the cycle turning over of studying. And then the other person asked about electoral reform, what's not. So what Sandra was referring to, basically what's happening in election past. But going forward, once OFA is, as a government in waiting going, what's going to happen is we're going to have, Sandra made mention of it, it's one federal abroad. So it's going to almost be like a constituency abroad. All right, so you have the option. If you want to come, the party want to bring you, that's on them. If you want to vote from overseas, wherever you are, even here locally, the elderly, persons who in the hospital, whoever want to vote, and they could access technology, then we give you that part. So we're not going to just subscribe you to walk into the polling station, or you come from the States. So we don't have to have election now based on America anymore. So we could have an election whenever St. Kitts Nevis want to have election, because that's one of the things that delays our election or speeds up our election, based on how the U.S. election and the diaspora election holidays are. One more thing, very important. We talk about the professions, and I want the diasporic professions to hear me clearly. We have a place called between Sempas, right after Sempas, Kittishan Hill. So our vision for Kittishan Hill is to bring home professionals for a whole year contract. And we know that some of you make real money, and we may not be able to pay you. So here's the love we have. So we'll make that rooms over there available for the professions, and we'll give you a driver, and we'll see how we could get close enough with our relationship to satisfying you for what you have. And in the interim, we're trying to get persons to buy Christoph Harbour, or to utilize, not buy the building, but utilize the building, because we're not giving our building to anyone. You understand? So those are some of the plans I have. I told you, just allow me to build week after week. I'm just going to pour out information. And in terms of the information, where you can get it is over One Federal Alliance SKN on Facebook. You go on that Facebook page and you will get the information that we speak about within a week's time. And you have the opportunity to take your time and peruse the documents, give your feedback right then on the Facebook page. What I'm saying is we have, before we came out, and people saying, oh, we started in April, yeah, we started literally Easter Monday. But people are saying, oh, we might be too late. No, the thing about it is we're not coming out. The level of professionalism of the people in OFA, We don't just jump to anything. We take time, we read, we study, and then we present our case. So now we're presenting our case.
Let me tell you, like,
Okay.
yes, I
Before you comment, Mr. Atherton, as you mentioned about coming to the public, there was something that I think needs a little bit of clarity.
Clarification.
Yes, there was a point where it was mentioned that OFA would have aligned with another party on syndicates. And then we would have seen another publication saying that, well, there was a separation between OFA and that party. Would you be able to give some clarity in relation to that aspect?
Yeah,
Sure.
that's
Let me tell you what happened. What it is. OFA is not a political party like that, and that is one of the reasons why we chose the name OFA, One Federal Alliance. We have aligned ourselves with people who have basically the same intentions. We got together strangely and had a discussion, recognizing that we all recognize the need for change. So what has been happening now? We have presented ourselves to the general public in April. That's when we came together and formed a political party. But the ideas of OFA is with and that is one of the reasons why it was so easy to join with other people having the same ideas, looking at the same situations, and recognizing these are the same solutions. And that is where OFA basically originated. So it was not a party that we just decided we're going to get up with new policies and new philosophies. We saw and the new visions, we saw it within ourselves, and that was one of the reasons why it was so easy for Hans and I to come together and decide I want to be a part of a party that he is, because we had the same ideas. Aligning with another party, we saw again, like I said, we look for people who are basically have the same ideas, the same philosophies like us. We saw a new political party who we had discussions. Unfortunately, we didn't do our due diligence where we sat down and recognized that we had the same ideas and everything else. And as we went forward, we recognized that there were certain things that were amiss. I mean, you're not calling on anybody and their intentions. We decided that it was better for us with our ideas to continue to working along that way, because it was to take too much time for us to adapt to other people's ideas, and that was not our intentions. We were not going to adapt to anybody's ideas, because for us we felt it was the right thing to do what we are doing at that time. And like everything else, everybody have a change of heart to people that decided that maybe our ideas did not coincide with what they think of, and they decided to leave. But we are explaining to you guys what our beliefs are. We are showing you all of the areas that we've worked on. We're showing you all of the areas that we think that you can become a part of. We are not just somebody asked, even if you're guys of integrity, the next set might not be. No, and the reason why I want to be a part of OFA is this. Unity was my idea. It was an idea I got up and I thought it was the best thing to do. But I allow other people to run with the idea. And see what happened after 7 years? Everybody's intentions were different. And so I am going to stay with OFA, because I want to make sure that what we are saying here to the people is what the people would get. So I want to be the whistleblower. I'm not going to be any candidate. I'm not running in any constituencies. I want to make sure that what we say for the people, it is of the people. Otherwise, me, myself, Sandra Queeley Arthurton, is going to come to the people again and tell them, look, there was something so deep in offers the other candidates' intentions that I didn't see. And I would apologize and would have to move forward. I would ask for a motion of no confidence. And that is those are the things that we have said. We have seen it too much where politicians are looking for an opportunity. They use your ideas to get to where they want to, but because their thoughts and intentions do not resonate with your ideas, we have issues. So let us start working, and I can give you the assurance that what we are saying here is something that we would have discussed. When we come out, we're not talking on behalf of ourselves. And if we go offline and we get somebody else to come on, they will say the same thing, because we believe in what offers philosophies, their policies, their vision, and our mission is. We believe hand to hand. It's not something it was so easy to come up with, because all of us had a similar idea. The same idea, not similar,
Okay.
the same idea.
So before you
Well,
continue, let me just, can I just add something to what Ms. Atherton was saying
yes.
quickly?
Yes.
All right, so I
Yes.
just wanted to I should have mentioned this early. So this is no, there's something that is burned painfully non-negotiable. We have nothing negative to say about any individual, any party, anything that would discredit anyone, because that's not even a thought of personally me as an individual. That's not even something I think about, and I don't push back. So I just, you can do it to me, but I wouldn't push back because that's time consuming. I am focused on what I have to do as a leader and as an individual, because I know that this is what is needed. This is what is it is of high importance to me. Otherwise I would not have done it. And I'm saying, like, somebody say, what are people's claim to fame? To be politician. But if you look at my dealing with people, I've dealt with people all my life, my professional life, and made a lot of their lives much better than it was before. And that's all I want to offer. People, people, people. And that's, again, that's why I said a responsible leader don't have an inferior, don't have an inferior complex. He's not intimidated. He's actually happy when people get go. And one of the things, Bankie Yahsonn, it would be nice that, imagine I'm the PM and you want to, and then you're working in, and you want to, and Sandra is the PM, or you're the PM, and Bankie want to excite you and say, but I want to run against you, but he work in civil. That's, nothing is wrong with that. I always see the silly season as a wonderful people, a wonderful time. I always love, even though I'm a soldier, I'm quiet, but I love the silly season, because you see, I love jousting, but at the end of it, we are kitchens and we are divisions and we can't change. So why are we separating our people? You understand what I'm saying? So I just
Okay,
wanted to put it out
we have
there.
a call here. We have a call here, Yahsonn.
Yeah, okay, just before the caller, I just wanted to mention that all I wanted was just to have a response on the air for it, because it was out there in the media, and so I just wanted at least for you all to clear the air on it, and then we move forward. So that's all it is. Bankie, yes, go ahead with the caller.
Caller, can you go ahead, please?
Yes, was just saying that I'm listening to this guy, and this little playbook I've been hearing over and over by every politician that's in opposition. And as soon as they get in power, I mean, there's no different. I mean, look at the AC that, I mean, unity campaign on, the good governance and all these things, just like what's happening now. The same thing with the Prime Minister, Joe. They campaign on all these nice things that they're going to do when they get in, but up to when they get in, it doesn't change. It let they get worse. So, I mean, they sound nice right now, but when it will be some front. Because, like I said, they're not putting anything in place to hold themselves accountable when they get into government. So, I mean, just mind-boggling to listen to all these politicians.
Give thanks, caller.
All right.
Appreciate it.
I like your caller. I really appreciate your caller. And again, I would post also my CV. Another person would post their CV, because you also have to look at people's history dealing with people, and how you respond to people. And I know, and I'm aware of the political playbook. I'm aware of what people would say, and we're going to get a lot of licks. And I'm going to stand up and take the licks, because I understand and I feel the pain. But the reality is, my history shows that that's not the personality I have. The history shows that the people in the environment of OFA, that's not our personality. We are about growth. We have never been in a position where we try to discredit anyone or take advantage of a situation. We always put our best foot forward. So I wish for you to continue to listen and continue to hear views like those, and person who are listening, and you hold us accountable now. And that's a good thing. You're holding me accountable now and holding OFA accountable now. So when we get to where we get to, we have actually showed our worth and our reason why you think it's our direction is the direction to go. So kudos to you, caller, and continue to hold us. And again, when I give you the pillows and the house, we're going to give you step by step, and you're going to read the reforms, the electoral reforms, the constitution reforms. Like I said, the victimization reform, that's act, that's something going to be immediate. The term in government, that's going to be immediate. Those things are going to be immediate, because why is it fair? I mean, people might want me, Yahsonn and Bankie, for 15 years.
Yeah, but you know, the caller.
Say again?
The caller, the sentiments of the caller. Like I mentioned, I know Sandra mentioned earlier that you guys have a lot of work to do, and this is part of the lot of work that you guys have to do because the sentiments of the caller is genuine. It is genuine, and I think I even mentioned it earlier in my commentary as well.
Deep,
It's
deep,
very
very deep.
genuine that this is what we get generally from those who are in
Yes, and
opposition.
we have a next call coming in.
And then when they get in, yes, let's take the call. And then when they get in, it's sometimes another story. So you guys are gonna have to
Caller.
demonstrate that you guys are totally different. Anyway, we got a caller.
Good evening, Mr. Richards. A question I would like to pose to you.
Call, you have noise in the background.
Tell him to turn down whatever device he has on.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I did turn it. Okay, let me reiterate. Mr. Richards, good night. I saw you on your first debut, and I appreciate that very much. I am in connection with the family. You will know who I am later on down. But it's nice to see another party is in the mix, and as much independence can enter this general federal election. I am a candidate also. And my plan for the people is to treat the people with dignity, respect, compassion, and empathy. I will appreciate if every independent candidate join together should they be elected and do the diligent preparation of Sunday. So far, I like you. Well, I shouldn't say like, because I like all for things. I love you. I love your mantra, and I hope you will continue in that endeavor. So, this and always speak strong, and your wish will be granted. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Bankie, and our guest this evening. I mean, I want to thank the callers who are calling in. We're kind of running out of time, but the number is 1-869-662-7196. And I am confident that Mr. Richards is able and Miss Arthurton is able to answer your questions. But as we were saying, that second to last caller, the sentiments of that caller is really genuine. And it's really going to be a challenge for you to convince the electorate that you're different. So I am seeing that you have done so by seeking to put some of your pillars and things that you're going to be addressing and so on. But I would suggest that you guys would have a lot more work. And Miss Arthurton, who is the communications person, trust me, you're going to have a lot to do in the not too distant future. While we're here, before we get in, if any more callers come in, one of the major issues that we would have had, we see what's been happening with the cannabis industry, where they're seeing pussyfooting with the industry. You seem to be one of the guys who would have been, quote unquote, kind of the enforcer on the other side of things. What's your thoughts now that, Constitution is showing that we do have basic rights, especially as Rastafari, and even though we're still being persecuted, and what would OFA do in terms of helping to clarify those things and respect our constitutional rights where that is concerned?
Okay, so again, responsibility. You have to sit down with the persons involved and find out how they're going to utilize the product. What is it for? Medical persons. I need information. Again, once I get information, we will research and see what's the best practices going forward. From a religious point of view, that's a non-negotiable. I understand that, because even in my days, even before it was decriminalized, as a soldier, once you're in your bingy and what's not, we just walk away. We never offend anyone. And I often wonder why why was it like this though? Why a plant like that has so much? Why do we have to fight a plant like that? So I'm always curious deeply about something like that. And one of the plans, I can't say it now, I would say it later when we speak about tourism, because I have plans for it from a tourism point of view. Because like I'm not trying to say that I'm selling marijuana on the streets or anything like that, but it's a product that can bring some sort of income. There are persons who utilize it. You're going to affect them, but how could we come to the most amicable decision and wise decision for it to flourish in the most positive and careful way? Because what I realize, a lot of young people, I think it was Labor Day. Sugar Band was by the circus. No, what you call that? Baker's Corner. And I kid you not, it's like I see 10 children and 9 of them were smoking, and it was painful. Do they understand? Are we educating them enough behind it? So we need education, education, education. The dangers of it, the good thing behind it. How can you? Okay, if you're gonna smoke it, what I think the best way to do, other than smoke it, to even help you as a person, as an entrepreneur, to become a marijuana educator as a student. You could study medicine and become a herbal medicine, a herbal doctor, if you understand. So we need to educate our children, because too many of them have now become smokers. And why? Falling a friend and they don't understand the repercussions, etc., etc. So for me, like I say, I did what I was supposed to do. Respectfully, I had to follow my orders. As I get older and I learn to understand, and now it's been decriminalized, which is step one, and the other steps to it. And we're going to do it wisely and correctly.
I mean,
All right, let Sandra
let's-
give you her opinion as
let's
well.
look at this though, Yahsonn. There are many uses of cannabis. And I think that is one of the areas that we haven't done enough research on. We talk about agriculture and how we're going to create crops, and we're going to export, and we're going to use this as a source of not just for us to use, but a source of income. And marijuana can be one of that. Marijuana is usage has been used internationally for, I mean, they've done a lot of research, and they understand that the use of marijuana, and the benefits of marijuana way surpass what we're looking at of our young boys smoking. Those they smoke cigarettes too, they drink alcohol the same way, and those are things that you have to learn to control. So we have to learn how to manage certain things and having an understanding of what we are going to do. Basically, where cannabis is concerned, you just don't get up and say, "Oh, we want to do this or we want to." We have to sit down. We have to do the research, and we have to clear understanding of you're going to use it for flour. You have the you use it for oil, or entrepreneurs knows what they can do, the soap and the everything that they have used, converted marijuana cannabis into. We can start looking otherwise, so we can
Well,
just turn a deaf ear
And I'm
and a
like,
blind
I,
eye towards it.
we have to strike a
I'm
balance. We have to strike a
I
balance.
am
We have to
happy to
strike a
hear
balance.
that. I'm happy
Yeah.
to hear that. And I must agree with you that definitely there is a need for more research, because as in coming up, you know, intending to be in power, this is going to be one of the issues that you're going to have to deal with, because there's a cross section of the population that see the benefit apart from the economics. The other, as you said, many other uses for it. But you tapped into agriculture, which is an area, and I think this will be the last, and you wrap up, because we have actually exceeded the 2 hour mark. And I must say that we look forward to having you guys back to update the people. I realize you mentioned that we're planning to do this in, as you said, maybe like a series where you deal with maybe one of the pillars or two of the pillars, and then you come back and. But what in your wrapping up and closing, and you can give information as to how people can get in touch with OFA. I see you mentioned there's an online or Facebook page and all that. But speak to quickly, maybe a minute, in terms of your plans for food security, because we realize we had the 25 by 25 agenda, which has been expanded into 25 by 30. So since we're on that topic, we can close with that. And Sandra, you can also give your 2 cents on that in terms of the closing up as well too.
So food security, we have two phases. So one phase is local, one phase. I don't know if you ever heard about the Jagdeo initiative. So things like coconut and cheese and those kind of plants, we're going to use the Jagdeo initiative. So let me make it quickly. The Jagdeo initiative in the simple form is you, Jagdeo, the president of Guyana, former president, would have allocate lands for CARICOM islands to utilize. And so because of the environment that Guyana is in, it is it allowed for us to to grow crops and cheese over there. But we have already done the research about moving the plants and the product there using our own vessels. We have already investigated the type of vessels we're going to need to transport and what we're going to pick up on the way from other countries and what we're going to leave in terms of our meat from our dairy, um, our gum provision. So on our way up, we're going to drop off our packaged food, but that we're going to export, and on our way down, we're going to bring what would have produced from Guyana. So that's in a nutshell. Again, when we get the chance to go deeper, we'll go deeper in that. So that's what we're going to do. We're planning to utilize lands in the hills, a place called Bearfords. We're going to hit that back. We're going to, because you know that the ovine and the bovine, we're going to create more. We're going to surround them so we can engulf them and give them a better environment to survive, protect them from a lot of diseases that they could that could prevent the meat and the dairy product from being as safe and nutritious as possible. And what was the other thing? It slipped me. She spoke about the agriculture and what else I miss?
No, it's just the food security, like how you deal with that. Yes.
Basically that's one a part of our pillar, it's there in our pillar where it's there. So like I say, next week or the week before, because I want to take my time, guys, and the listening audience, and take my time so that when I leave, you have a better understanding, coupled with the fact that we're going to post these documents so that you again, like, in turn will have a chance to review and see what we're speaking about, and then you in turn will make an informed decision based on what you see. And for the gentleman for the call, I really appreciate the call. I want more persons like yourself to pressure us, hold us accountable now. Don't wait until then. And persons with ideas like those, don't be afraid to reach out to OFA. Share your ideas and see how else we can incorporate ideas in what we are thinking, and so we have a solid plan for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis going forward.
Okay. So let's
Sandra, I'm gonna
yeah,
I'm gonna let you wrap up with that as well, and that point. But I'm gonna chuck in two little other points here. One, somebody asked, did they say whether they are for the SSZ or against the SSZ? And I guess the Destiny. And then the last point to add in between there, somebody asked if you have all of your candidates now. Well, you can respond to that and maybe say how many do you have. Let's say election is supposed to call tomorrow, because you know how we are right now. Elections are in the back pockets of whether the premier, the prime minister. So how many candidates you would have if you're ready right now, and the one about if you're for SSZ and Destiny and the food security in your wrapping up, Sandra.
okay, let's start from the bottom. We are in a building up process, and we have potential candidates. But like everybody else, we want to make sure, like you have been asking questions, to make sure that we are the choice that they want to really make. We are the party that they want to run with. But we have if we're to bring everybody that we have right now, we definitely can feel at least 10. And
Okay.
again, I would say at least 10 candidates, 11, because we would have somebody who's going to work along with us. We have those people, when they recognize how serious we are, and if an election to call right now, they don't have time to make up their mind anymore. We said before with OFA, what we were doing is not just presenting ourselves to the people. Is the last thing we wanted to do. We wanted to present the message, and this is exactly what we're doing right now, presenting the message. When people hear our message and they resonate with us, then people are going to come to us. So we are in the building out stage where we are encouraging people who are interested and want to make a difference in the country, and can see what, instead of telling us that we're going to be like the others, be a part of it and be a part of the change. You can be a
Okay.
part of it and make sure you become like the others.
So you
Okay?
have
We're
about
open.
10. You have about 10 right now.
We have potentially, we have about 10 candidates, potentially,
Okay. For
for every.
for SSZ or Destiny. Are you for SSZ and for
No, I
Destiny?
am personally saying, I mean, I think I would have to encourage and persuade OFA to look at it.
Yeah, we need
Otherwise,
to review the
we have to
documents.
definitely have to
Yes,
start looking at reviewing
yes,
it.
we have to review
We don't
before we
believe,
make
I
a
don't
decision.
believe, I really don't believe that we should encourage. I go right back to slavery and see what would have happened. We talk about colonialisms and the people who came here to colonize us. And if we're going to open that gate again, we're going to wind up in a similar situation. Bring people in, and we don't have control over. We don't. Our laws are not even ready for them because we are trying to accommodate them again. Because you have to ask the question: who benefited from bringing destiny here? That is the question you have to ask. When we start looking at all the trends, you know that something is not very good along that line. We are not given enough information. We know that at the end of the day, we have seen them come and we've seen them go. We've seen all the information we were given about Christoph Harbour. We've seen all the niceness they've talked about different hotels that would have come here that didn't even finish. We've seen that. And so at OFA, we want to make sure that all our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed and the people are aware. Hans said that we talk about surveys, getting the people involved, the input, the response from the people. And from there, you come to a conclusion. You can't make a decision as from a party standpoint to affect 54,000 people. 8 people should not be, or 11 people should not be able to make that decision. It's the people who are going to be affected. To make sure that what affects the people agree with it. It's either they are for it or they're against it. Let the people make that decision. We are only here to guide and manage, but we can't force things on people that the people don't want. We talk about food security. We look at the fact that Hans talk about it. We look at the fact that planters are now they're producing more, but there's not an outlet for them to sell their stuff. You still have these issues where we look at this guy with all of these pineapples.
People talking straight with
We should have been in a position where we can now start making our own pineapple juices or other things, preservatives from pineapples, because we are producing that amount of pineapples. We have to find another way of utilizing the pineapples in opposed to letting them spoil. That is total waste. So those are the things that we have to realize, that we have to make sure that we manage, we have plans in place of what we're doing. We don't want to go do everything ad hoc. Grow pineapples, 200,000 and crops. What are you going to do with it when it comes? We don't have an outlet. We talk about the Barefoots area where we're doing dairies and butter and cheese. And those are things that we're going to look into. And so we have to find an area where we have excess mangoes, excess pineapples. We have to start utilizing these as preservatives. Not going on this shop and buying Goya pineapple preservative, Goya guava jam. We have these things knocking about. We have the same season, so we have to learn. We have to have an understanding of what we are going to do when we start creating these things. And I think that is where we are really lacking an area of having our planters and our producers finding a way to market their stuff and reaping the benefits that they should have reap from this from the crops that they are forced to produce. It is, and these are the things that OFA is looking at. How we can empower our people, how we can make sure that whatever we do, our people benefit, our people benefit. We look at seeing what is happening. Our people are being displaced. We have to find a new strategy that is going to change that situation. And if people want
Well,
us to happen, they have to vote for OFA, one federal alliance in the next general.
what a way to wrap things up. I'm really impressed with what you guys have brought to the table this evening, and I think based on the comments, questions, and queries, and the way you responded to them as well, I think that the folks are looking forward to interesting days ahead. So all I can say is, you guys, you mentioned that you guys have a lot of work to do, so prep to do the work. Bankie, I'm gonna give you your last set of words, and then we wrap up this edition. We want to thank our guests for being here, Hance Richards, Sandra Queeley Arthurton. You guys have done a wonderful job, and we look forward to having you back on the platform to share some more valuable information. And I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same thing as well. So, Bankie, you're closing.
Just want to thank all those who tune in this evening to Real Entertainment Network on this Friday evening. Really appreciate you guys tuning in and for your comments and your phone call. Also want to thank my guest, Miss Queeley Arthurton and Mr. Richards. Appreciate you guys taking the opportunity and coming here to disseminate your information and reaching out to the region, locally and internationally. Listeners, thanks for coming, and definitely we're looking forward for getting you guys back in the near future to continue information. Also, let me say thank those who come by every day religiously to support Mansour's Last Stop and Shabazz Organics. Also, let me big up Amanis, also is running the shop manager and all those who come out and support on a daily basis to keep my Uncle Mans alive. And also remember our cousin Aisha, who tend to come around every Saturday and help with the cooking and stuff like that. We just learn. So we're now really going through a tough time, and we really appreciate all those who call and give you your comfort and stuff like that.
Condolence
Tomorrow there should be a
Aisha.
culture have a basketball class and stuff like that. So tomorrow on the menu you get your caramel and okra and your fish, your oxtail and meal, or your chicken and caramel, or your oxtail and rice, or your fish and rice, and your salads and your local drink. You have marby, fresh coconut water. We have cucumber juice, melon juice, and we have always have watermelon. Cucumber is available, green and ripe banana, also plantain and stuff like that. So, and also dry coconut. So what you don't see, you ask for. So thanks again. Also, let me say for the Culturama time coming up, big up Pancake, have a lot of stuff and sale back to the vest. So reach out to Ronnie there in Credit Code and get your for your Culturama sale to stay fresh and dress in your white tees and stuff like that. And also down Nick over there Grove for a light place to chill. And so thanks again. Next week Tuesday we'll have me and Mr. Mark Brantley where we continue a discussion. And then the Friday, the Monday we have quality time with agriculture, and then the following week we'll have the Azad Gums where we'll get into another conversation. So this month we definitely have a packed month, and the other Tuesday we have Taineta, and we talk about SKN Alliance, and then the following week then we have Mr. Kyle. What his name is again? What's Kyle's last name?
Flanders.
Well, he's no, not Kyle. Marshall, Kyle Marshall. Not that one. That one. Yes. So that will be on the 24th. So thanks again for all those who tuning in. Yahsonn.
Yes, and we want to thank our guests again once more for being here with us and and enduring with us our guests and our listeners can sometimes be a bit interesting and faces. Your comment here says, well, wait, Miss Sandra was saying last time that she's going to put Destiny on Booby Island. How she want to analyze it now? I mean, so they do listen. So it means that they were listening the last time you were here. Great. What do you guys do for the Federation? Escari. When will Mark Brantley be on with you guys? And so we mentioned that's going to be on the 14th. We just want to thank everybody for coming out. And you could have been doing anything on this Friday evening. It's the start of a weekend, but you're here with us. We want to encourage you before you leave to click on the subscription button here on YouTube, subscribe, like, and share, and click on the notification bell. So each time we have a program, you don't miss it. I want to encourage folks to come on over and visit us there at Heritage Village. That's a nice place on Nevis. If you've never been there, Sandra, you need to visit the Heritage Village where they show you all of the different little housing after emancipation, where we moved from, and they show you a little house that would have had 13 children in it, and so 13 people living in it, and you wonder now why, how, and you see the old enamel plate and the old goose, and a nice tour. And then you can take a stop at the cafe where we have a lot of, local foods and drinks and a nice ambiance for you to sit and enjoy. So if you've never been there, make a trip. Book your tour with Imperial Rides, and we'll take you there, and we'll make sure that you have a wonderful time on the island of Nevis. So we want to thank all of you, and make sure, book with Islander, catch a boat, Islander, come on over. Imperial Rides will take you, and we'll take you for the tour with Bankie as well, because we actually do take our guests to tour with Bankie at Shabazz Organic. So, people, we want to welcome you to Nevis. We want to thank all of you for tuning in to us here on Real Entertainment Network. Subscribe to the channel, just subscribe to the platform. See you guys next week, Monday, with another edition of Quality Time with Alan, and then Tuesday, another edition of the Topics right here on Real Entertainment Network. So thank you. Thank you, Hance. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Bankie. Thank you, Real Entertainment team.
Topiks. Bankie Yahsonn. Real conversations. Hey. Lately we be having conversations with the people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. We be having conversations with the people, cause too many media houses changing up the news. Everything was green light, now we seeing red. Everybody got opinions, few got facts instead. We be having conversations with the people, cause we feel like there's nobody really talking truth. Tuesday night and everybody tuned in live. Bankie Yahsonn bringing reasoning every time. Talking politics and the things affecting lives. Breaking down the stories they be trying to hide. Used to trust the system, now the